Take the stage.
Hi everyone. $213 billion. This is how painful cart abandonment was in the last year in the US alone. Cart abandonment is a problem for all sectors dealing with online sales. But when it comes to travel, a recent study shows that this happens because of friction users experience. Friction that causes high cart abandonment rates and low conversion rates. Because deciding what to book is a hassle. And 55% of US travelers say that they've abandoned an online purchase because of the hassle of booking it. And I feel their pain, and I'll give you an example. Last summer, my mother decided that my whole family was going to take a trip together. And I would like to share with you a rare image of myself trying to book that vacation to everybody's satisfaction. And that's what your customers look like every time they try to book. They use phone calls, WhatsApp groups, screenshots, links. And all that hassle on the user side means cart abandonment on our side. Because what we need to keep in mind is that travel decisions are not made alone. Whether it's your friends, your family, even if it's just a partner, you always want to talk to someone. Only 18% of all trips booked in 2019 were solo trips. So if we take, for example, a couple that want to book on your website, they are forced away from your website every time they want to have a discussion. And we all know that those who have left our website are less likely to book from us. So what can we do to reduce friction, to make ourselves more group-friendly? Well, this is exactly what I'm here for. At Gamitee, we're turning travel sites into frictionless booking platforms by enabling social booking with a Gamitee sharing platform, giving your users a better user experience and your website better results. Let me walk you through the Gamitee booking experience. Your user would pick a hotel, a flight, a vacation, and use the Quick Share button to create a shareable wish list. Then they can invite their friends or their family to your website, where they can discuss, vote, chat, book in real time. I've brought you some numbers of customers that we're currently working with. And exactly as expected, we can see an increase in conversion rate, in average order value, and in overall sales. And these numbers are supporting what we already know. People need people to make decisions. And when they have an easy way to get the support of their group, they're happy to book more, and they're happy to book now. And there's even more than that in it for you. With Gamitee, you can start understanding your groups. Instead of just seeing what they ended up booking, if they ended up booking, now you would see what they debated on, what they chose to leave behind. You also get an increase in your organic growth by seeing the entire group instead of just the one person who usually gets there. And just like we're making your websites frictionless, we're making it frictionless to work with us. Becoming a partner is simple, easy, and quick. It requires no IT. Just add one line of code to your website. As far as our pricing model goes, we have either a SaaS retainer-based model or a pay-for-success, where you only pay for a share of the sales uplift that we bring to your website. Everything I've shown you so far is just the beginning. Our next step would be to help connect the travel industry by allowing customers to take their cart with them. So if they start their booking on your website, they'd be able to leave without abandoning their cart. One net, allowing you to stay on your user's mind even when they've left. All this innovation is only possible thanks to our amazing team. Being based at one of the top 10 computer science campuses in the world does help with building the dream team. We've doubled ourselves over the last 6 months. And thanks to our amazing team of advisory, some of whom are mentioned here, who help us stay on the right track the whole time. As far as our competitors go, as a B2B2C SaaS solution provider, we're the only one in the travel business. There have been a few attempts to do similar things in the retail world. At Gamitee, we bring the social component back to your website, helping your website become a frictionless booking platform that your customers would want to make their go-to travel website whenever they want better booking together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ella. Take a seat. Dragons?
I'm dealing with this right now. I'm trying to plan a vacation. As you know, you commented on my LinkedIn post.
Feel your pain.
There's a reason why you don't have any competitors. That's because they've presented 4 at a time here every year for the last 10 years, and they're all gone. Or they've all pivoted to B2B. And so I think it's nice to see that you're attaching yourself to a booking site or an OTA. I like the idea of this cart portability, that I would be able to start organizing my cart and move it around. But again, I'm going to go back to a comment that one of my colleagues here said, which is, how do you remind me the next time I take a trip, right? My classic line is, most Americans travel once a year, and it's Disney World. And so how are you going to attract me to come back? How are you going to keep me involved in the idea of travel planning in between my 2 trips that happen maybe once every 18 months?
Well, there are 2 things that I want to address. The first one is that, like you said, there have been many platforms who tried in different ways to do this. And we don't deal with any of the customer acquisition problems. We kind of just join platforms that already exist. People know, like you said, what they usually like from their trips, and they go there. And we provide a service, making that experience easier. But the other thing that I think we should keep in mind is that this is actually an opportunity for exactly what you said. You now have a group on your website. They're all there together. They all have a shared link. You can follow up with them after they've booked. You can help them with the post-booking process. All of these things are now options when you start thinking about your customers as a group that does things together and needs help in the next stages as well. So this is exactly the point where we're going.
And I just want to say one more thing. One of the challenges we're running into is that in prior years, these types of companies had a difficult time, but I think now we've got more travelers that are in the post-Facebook world. And half of the team that I'm trying to plan a trip with are no longer on Facebook. And so I think we might be having a renaissance of some of these types of tools to try to help us, again, socially connect now that some people are off of Facebook and don't want to be social.
Encouraging words. Whoa.
I don't know, right? You believe that?
So, I have a serious concern about your addressable market, right? I mean, in the end of the day, if you're selling to OTAs and other players who are battling it out of the top of the funnel, you have a very finite group of potential customers, right? You have to remove the big dogs from that, because if what you're doing is actually affecting conversion, they have plenty of engineers just to do that themselves, right? And you can be sure that that kind of work would be put to the front of their priority list. So, how do you respond to that challenge that in the end of the day, you might only have about 15 potential customers, and can you extract enough economics to build a sustainable business here?
Well, I think that for starters, the problem has been tried, they've tried to solve it in different ways. And we have been in contact with some of the bigger players who have had, this trouble and tried to solve it with their tech teams and keep being unhappy with what they have. So some of the technology we use and the way we address the problem is very creative and a whole different approach. And I think we do have what to offer even for the big players.
But it's hard to imagine that the big players over time would continue to pay you substantial economics for one line of code that they could reproduce, unless you've got some sort of intellectual property protection.
That was quick.
You get the answer.
One quick answer.
You get the last word.
Last word.
Thank you. So I do think there will be competitors over time, but what we offer is still strong enough, and the numbers that we're seeing are still good enough. And the clearest thing is that we're seeing interest from the bigger players, and once we sign those contracts, I'll send you the names. But it is happening also on the big player area, so in that sense, I think we're going in the right direction.
Great. Terrific
Thank you very much,
presentation.
Ella.
Well done.